is it? There it is. There's the book. It's called A History of Central Banking and the Enslavement
Oh,
of Mankind.
that is a great
Absolutely.
book. That is fantastic. That is.
Have you read that book?
I've heard, well, I've not read it, but I've seen some of it. I definitely want to read. What would you say was your favorite moment in that book?
I'll tell you, that I know for sure. I could even read you. I could
Go
read
ahead. Yep.
you this section. I've highlighted it. The whole thing, I highlight my books. So, um, let me find that. Okay. I can even tell you, but it would be kind of brilliant to chapter 3. That's France. Okay. I think here we go. This is it right here. Um, I'll be turned to the side here, and my glasses, I put them in my bag. One sec.
Take your time, Ken. It's all good. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, definitely recommend that book. The History of the Enslavement of Humanity to Central Banking. It's a very interesting book. There's a lot of truth about the Rothschild and Rockefellers. I may not agree with everything in that book, but it's a good book. But Ken's going to read it. Here we go.
Well, it's well cited, tons of references in the bibliography and whatnot. I would challenge anybody who may not agree. Well, find what you disagree with, then go fact check it for real. So this is page 24 of the book, and it's the chapter on England, and people would know the real history of England unless they're really serious about history. But I'll read you just like half a page, just over half a page.
Hmm?
And I'll give you a setup. In England, because England is an island, um,
Hmm.
they did not have the problems that the European continent was having, which is where the Jews that now pose as Jews in the Jewish state of Israel, where they've outlawed DNA testing because it will prove that they do not have any blood
Hmm.
connection at all to the Holy Land. Anyway, Europe was a bloody mess. The Jews have been booted out of over 1,000 territories, over 100 countries, and this goes back way before Zionism and all that. These are all facts. And why was it? Because they practiced something known as usury, which Jesus didn't like at all, and neither
Hmm.
do I. So England was very prosperous for the first millennia. So from all the way from the birth of Christ up until the 1100s, the average work week for an Englishman was 14 hours a week. There were nobles and there were kings, but the kings and nobles actually had nobility. They had no Jews in England, literally, and Jews were not allowed in because it was a Christian country and they did not want the Jews to bring in their usury, which is always the same result. It's happening in New Zealand, it's happening in Australia, it's happening all over the West. My birth nation is now $39 trillion in debt. To who? To the Federal Reserve Bank is who. So, anyway, England was very prosperous, but a king got in bed with a Jew, invited him over, and they started practicing usury. And within one generation, all the people were poor. They had no power. The king was corrupt. He was in bed with the Jews, and everybody was in debt, and they were in a state of poverty. Before that, they had a golden age for over a millennia. So here's the bit that I'll read you. Says by the beginning of the 13th century, many nobles were in danger of losing their lands through usury and taxation. In 1207, an enormous sum of £60,000 was levied in taxes on the English population. Now, that's 1207, okay? So £60,000 was a lot of money. Uh, so £60,000 was levied. Nobles who borrowed from the moneylenders and from the king and his agents had to have their mortgages registered on the treasury rolls. As soon as a noble got into financial difficulty, the king would buy the debt from the moneylender and seize the land for himself. In 1215, the nobles revolted. This is what we need to do now. They revolted and forced King John to sign the Magna Carta on June 15, 1215. This document consists of 61 clauses relating to the establishment of various constitutional and legal rights, but its principal purpose was to cancel the bonds of the moneylenders and to abolish usury. On 19 October 1216, King John died and was succeeded by his 9-year-old son Henry III, who ruled from 1219 to 1272. His reign was little better than his corrupt father and the king, and 19 of the clauses affecting the role of the moneylenders were abrogated the following year. So he reversed the progress that was made. However, his heir, Edward I, God bless him, from 1272 to 1307, soon realized that if he did not take action against the moneylenders, he would be in danger of losing his throne. In 1233 and 1275, statutes were passed which abolished all forms of usury. A further statute was passed by King Edward on 18 July, so that's yesterday, and a few days before my birthday, on 18 July 1290, compelling the entire Jewish population of 16,511 to leave England forever. One of over 100 expulsions of the Jews which have been recorded throughout European history. Unlike the modern practice of ethnic cleansing, the Jews, after paying a tax of 1/15 of the value of their movables and 1/10 of their specie, were permitted to leave England with all their goods and chattels. With the banishment, the moneylenders, and the abolition of usury, taxes were moderate, and there was no state debt, as the interest-free tally stick was used for government expenditures. So the point is that I know most people in the modern era, especially in so-called Western society, are confused about religion and God, or they reject religion, and I don't blame them, because the churches have been corrupted. And we see, like, I'm a Catholic born and raised. I mean, how many choir boys do we need raped by cardinals and bishops to think, that's not something that's godly, and it's not something that I'm going to follow. But the beauty for me is that I did not confuse the church with God. God is truth. Truth is God. It's no demarcation between truth and God. God does not lie to you. God can offer you the kingdom of heaven, but he can also send you straight to hell. Those that are running our world right now, they're aligned with Satan. They practice satanic ritual sacrifice of children. They also practice satanic sex rituals. We can see this with Diddy and other Hollywood types of things. This is being uncovered. The mask is off. We're seeing it, and we see that those who practice usury, because according to Christianity, usury is not allowed. According to Islam, usury is not allowed. And
Mhm.
the original word, as was handed down by God to Abraham and to Moses, the original word to the Jews was no usury. And they did follow that. Some Jews still practice that, very few, but some do. Those are the real Jews who are following the word of God, and I have no problem with those Jews. But every Jew who's practicing usury and who is indebting the world through the IMF, the World Bank, the Bank of International Settlements, the European Central Bank, the Bank of England, the Federal Reserve Bank, you'll have the equivalent banks in New Zealand and Australia. Unacceptable. I will fight that shit till death. We need to end usury. When we end usury, every single problem you can imagine, we can fix it. Literally. It comes down to that one issue. So that's why that book is so important. And if you really want to learn and be armed with serious truth, like I was as a machine gunner, when I'm locked and loaded, man, I'm dangerous. That stuff is like bullets. It's like the sword of truth. And there'll be so many references in that book that can lead you to other books, and you can study deep, and then you can become really dangerous. You can become a warrior for God. That's what I am, man. I work for God. That's it. I answer to him, only him. I'm not afraid of any man nor any punishment. I will go to prison. I will be homeless. I've done both of those. I've lost everything. I've even been killed. I was clinically dead on the ground with multiple witnesses, but someone gave me CPR and I'm still here. So I've learned a lot through my very unconventional path, and you cannot control a man who's aligned to source, to God, and has developed some strength and character. And I've done that through, the Marines. I've done that through martial arts training. I've done that by, I never liked bullies. My whole life, I never liked bullies. And I can take a punch. And I've never hit anybody first. But the moment, if somebody wants to try and bully me, which doesn't really happen anymore, but if somebody wants to try, I'll switch because I'm the kind of guy that can walk away from some idiot. Like, God bless you, and I'll walk away. But if they want to push it and they want to fight me, then I switch. I literally switch. I'm a really nice guy. I really am. But if I am
Mhm.
convinced somebody is standing in front of me and they want to hurt me, like their job is to hurt me, like I can see in their eye they want to hurt me, then I switch too. And my look changes. And I look into their eyes and I look into their soul and they begin to see, like, I'm a problem for you. You better bring your fucking friends because I know how to fight and I can take a punch. So I don't like bullies. And who's the biggest bully? America. Who's their master? The Jewish state of Israel. Who's the biggest enemy to all humanity right now? The Jewish state of Israel and their little podunk bitch, otherwise known as the United States of America, that I used to serve as a mercenary for the banksters. So yeah, that's my gig. That's what I'm about. That's what I do with my time. That's how I think. And this is the way I approach my life. This is a war and I'm ready to die or to see the day of victory. The latter would be better.